Good evening, everybody. Sit down here after listening to our Star Spangled Banner. This is episode 8 of my 15 minutes, and hope you heard it. It was I asked Alexa to play some patriotic music, and the first thing that came up was the Star Spangled Banner. So, you know, I just had to let it play. I couldn't sit down. I couldn't talk over it. Couldn't, it's our national anthem. So, I just let it play and hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. It's still a great song. I still love it. It still gives me goosebumps sometimes. It gave me goosebumps tonight. Tonight I want to introduce our picture of the day. Again, this is number 8. And I don't know where it is. It's beautiful. Look at the mountains. Oh my God, this lake. Just stunning. Beautiful dark clouds overhead. Looks like some rain coming. I don't know. It's beautiful. Great picture. Oh, wish I was as good a photographer as that person is. It just takes practice. Yeah, here's a story. You want to hear a story? By the way, I do love photography. I think it's a great discipline. I think there are some phenomenal artists out there doing it. I'm not one of them, but I thought I might be at some point. When I was really young, I took a photography course. And about halfway through the course, the instructor, and this was black and white. We were all doing black and white photography. There were no color enlargers. This is a long time back, probably close to 50 years. But at the time, we were just learning composition, lighting, different things. And but at the end of the whole thing, he started prepping us for it about halfway into the course. He wouldn't tell us exactly what the final was going to be. But the day of his announcement came, and he sat in front of us and he said, "Here's what I want you to do. I want you to go out, and I want you to think that you're about to introduce an alien from another planet, somebody that has no idea of anything, that who we are, what we are, anything. Again, there's no preconceived anything. We don't know whether they even have religion or anything else. But what I want you to do, people, is go take a picture of a church so that an alien who has never been here, doesn't know anything about us, and comes and looks at that picture and says, that's a place of worship." I actually worked on that project for 2 or 3 weeks before I finally gave up. And it came to me later that is the stupidest thing I've ever dealt with photography-wise. I mean, I don't know where that came from. I don't know where he thought that. But if maybe somebody out there might even have a better idea than me. Excuse me. I got to do something here. I got to flip the thing around so I can see when my time is going to run out. So, sorry about that. Didn't mean to have to interrupt, but I definitely don't want to be, I don't want to be editing. So if I'm not shutting it off to go back and knock out something little. But anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, photography. So it just, what happened here? Did this thing turn off? I liked having the background picture. There it is. I don't know why it went off. But anyway, I hope that's not distracting. I don't know for sure. I wouldn't think it would be. It's just a background image now. It's not flashing. It's not switching. It was distracting for that few seconds, but it doesn't think about that. Anyway, this instructor wanted us to go out, and believe me, I took a lot of pictures of a lot of churches. I had a girlfriend at the time. Her name was Dale, and she was very pretty. And I posed her as a nun, praying in the church. I did all kinds of things. But it never. If somebody has no concept of prayer, or church, or religion, if their whole existence is based on something other than a deity that controls all. You know, maybe they're based on something entirely unknown to us. I have no idea. But anyway, I have puzzled over that particular thing for years, and I've told people this story. It's not the first time I've repeated it as what I consider to be an act of idiocy. and but that's me. You know, if you have a different take on it, if you're watching this and you're listening to me tell you this story about this instructor, and by the way, I'm not. I don't even remember his name, and even if I did, I wouldn't say it. But he's probably long gone. He was in his 40s or 50s, probably at that point. That was 50 years ago. But hey, if he's over 100 and still shooting, more power to it. You know, they say that people who do, people who can't teach, people who do. I don't. Anyway, maybe he was somebody that shouldn't have been teaching photography. I don't know. I mean, he taught me a bit. You know, he taught me. After I got done, and I actually ended up walking out of the class after that final thing. I just never finished it. I never turned anything in. Everything I put in front of him, he just shook his head and said, "No, you're gonna have to work harder, do better." And the more I worked harder, then the less I did better. So I gave that up. I just thought that was a dumb. But anyway, in that I learned, what an f-stop is. I learned depth of field. I learned lighting. I learned shading. I learned, there's other things. I learned. Now you do it in a computer, but we learned dodging, and printing black and whites, and how to make effects with shadows and stuff that you move. Anyway, it was an interesting class. It wasn't that I didn't like it, and not that I didn't like photography. The other problem with photography, especially at the time, was if you wanted to do a lot of it, and you did not have the place to develop your own film. Getting film developed when you're really young and not making a whole lot of money was expensive. Cameras are expensive, lenses are expensive. So, and I had gotten myself some equipment, but the closest I ever came to running a really nice camera, I borrowed my Uncle Roy's 35 millimeter Nikon and a couple lenses, and he gave me his whole pack. And I filmed a wedding with it. I shot a wedding. My only shoot ever. I've taken pictures at weddings, not many. But that was the only wedding I ever shot. I can't remember whose wedding it was. My sister Susan's friend Judy, her brother, I think, was at that wedding, her brother John. But anyway, and the pictures actually turned out great. And I really had very little idea what I was doing, but they were very happy with the images. The Nikon did a superb job of covering up what flaws I probably brought to the table. But nonetheless, and that was after the course, after that photography course. That still bothers me. You know what? That really does. It still bothers me. It bothers me that I don't know if anybody. I didn't stick around to see, but I don't know what happened in the end. I just knew that it wasn't going to be my particular moment in the sun. That's for sure. But again, if somebody's watching this and they have an idea about how to shoot a church so an alien would know instantly, looking at that picture, that this was a place that's revered and that we worship and that blah, 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 and it's a house of God and all that stuff. All of it rolled up into one huge thump when the guy looks at it and says, oh, these people live their lives based on the thought that there is a entity greater than all of them who controls, says what's good, what's bad, blah, blah, blah. So, trying to put that through to somebody verbally, if they could actually understand you, would be tough enough. I'm not going to continue. See, this is. I did this 50 years ago, and I don't want to do it. I'm sitting here reliving this whole thing in my head, and that purely sucks. It really does. It wasn't a pleasant thing, that part of it. I mean, the other part was great. And I've had some great fun taking pictures, and at different times. I've lost a lot of pictures. Oh my God! When we moved into digital photography, that's when my interest re-peaked, because then it doesn't cost anything to take a picture. Just the cost of the camera. Memory is, you just keep reusing it, moving it. But I've lost a lot. I lost on hard drives. Oh my God. I've got pictures that I burned onto CD, DVD years ago. Are they still readable? I had to dig out. I had to dig out a portable CD. I have a writer that I can plug into my Mac Mini, and it's so I can do that. But will I? Will anybody ever look at those pictures again? Hundreds, if not thousands of them. And I took one really stunning photograph of a friend of mine, uncle. We were at the races in Watkins Glen. And still have the camera. I had a Konica Minolta A2 that I had gotten in those, and that was a phenomenal camera at its time. And I just happened to catch my friend Kenny's Uncle George, in a relaxed moment, and I had a headshot that, to this day, I just can't believe I personally took it. But it's a great shot, but it's lost, I'm sure. It was either on the hard drive. I lost an entire hard drive years ago through my own foolishness, and a piece of software that shouldn't have been allowed to be moved into the real world. So we got about a minute and a half left, 15 minutes. I hope you enjoyed all the patriotic music in the background. As I said before, I am a vet. I am a firm believer in this country. And I did say something positive about Donald Trump earlier, in an earlier broadcast, but I just want everybody to know for sure that I am not a supporter of Donald Trump for president, not by any means. I don't like the man. There are some things that he has done, especially here recently, that I applaud, but I don't like the man. I think he's a liar and a cheat, and I think he's out for anything that he can do that'll enhance his own personal wealth. It has nothing to do with me or you or anybody else. That's my personal take on it. So I'm not supporting Donald Trump. If he does something that I think is good for this country, I'll tell you about that too. But killing that terrorist, no problem. I have an issue with that at all. But okay. But now it's time to say goodnight. I don't know if this was an entertaining rant or just a rant. But whatever it is, it's my 15 minutes. Golly gee. Again, anybody who would like to share their 15 minutes, please be my guest. You can send it to me or just contact me.